Would you love to hire a self-managing team where you didn't have to look over their shoulders? Everything would be just done in the way that you would like it to be done. And then your patients are taken care of, and you could just relax and feel good knowing that your practice is running like a well-oiled machine without you having to get as involved. And that's just the experience we all would love to have, right? A self-managing team is totally possible. And yet it's not always a reality typically when we are in a situation where either we have hired people and it didn't work out as well as we would have liked, or we just feel like even though they're good people, we seem to have to be involved more than we have bandwidth for. Because do you ever feel this way where it's like, if when your time is taken up looking over people's things or training more than excessively than you would like, then it takes time away from you being able to do the things that you enjoy most in your business and in your practice. Here are some of the reasons why you may not have a self-managing team yet is that you didn't hire the right person. And maybe you had used interview questions that basically everybody prepares for interview questions. And then you weren't really able to suss out a hire that's good versus one that isn't really up to the par that you're looking for. Another common mistake is finding someone you just feel like you could work well with. And although that is an important factor in decision making, it's not the only important factor in decision making. A third common mistake in the hiring process is to be looking primarily for people who are good at the skills instead of also what else to be looking for that would help suss fit, like in terms of whether they would be a fit for your culture, whether they would be a fit to be clicking and really having good synergy with your team. What is considered where it's like you and a new hire might be different, but it's a good thing that you're different versus you and a hire are different, and then it's likely not going to be a fit. A fourth common mistake is posting mainly on job boards that everybody else posts on. So there are much better places than just the typical job board ones, the popular ones that you think of, and ones that could bring you more bang for if you're spending money on job boards. That there are other ways to do it such that you would get more bang for what you're actually spending on it, or not even having to spend money at all. It's not just about having a pool of candidates, but it's also the quality of the candidates. So do you have a good pool of candidates you're choosing from? Or it's just like you get a lot of resumes you have to sift through. How long is it taking you to sift through those resumes when you could be seeing patients during that time? Or how long is it taking for you to be interviewing these people when you could be seeing patients and making money? Having a process in place that effectively susses people out will save you so much time and energy and heartache too. The sooner you get the right person hired, the faster things will be taken off your plate. So you can have a life more, or you could be spending that time seeing patients or just doing what you like, freeing up your time to do other things that are important to you, whether the business or in your life. And you could be making more money in the practice too. Your time is worth money. And when you could hire somebody to either be able to free up your time and take things off your plate on the admin side so that you can actually bring more money into the practice, or that you bring someone in to see patients for you so they're making money for you in the practice, then you're going to be making more money while you're helping more people. It's important to have counterintuitive interview questions because most people end up preparing for interviews and might tell you what they think you want to hear. So you need to have good questions that suss out their fit. But aside from interview questions, what else do you have as part of your screening process? For example, how do you end up attracting them in the first place, right? So all these things are important. And then how are you onboarding them? So first in attracting them, and then how are you sussing them out for best fit? And that way you get someone good, reliable, and capable you could trust hired, and then have a good process and onboarding process in place to ramp them up quickly so they could be productive for you and helping you versus a load on your shoulders. You'd like to make more money, but not be working many more hours than you're already currently. Maybe you would like to hire someone who can support you admin wise, or maybe you would like to hire an associate that your patients can trust and feel comfortable with, someone your patients want to see. If it's an admin hire, you'd love to hire somebody who would do the job without you having to constantly remind them. You'd love to hire somebody who is capable, self-directed, proactive, and works well in a team and willing to change and grow. You'd love someone to do the admin work so that you don't have to. Give you some relief from all the work that needs to be done. You'd love someone who's motivated too and reliable and someone you could trust. So you're definitely in the right place. Go ahead and get access to my free Half Your Hiring Time Masterclass and the free Half Your Hiring Time Toolkit, which will get you started with being able to cut down the amount of time you take in this process and shortcut it from my over 20 years of recruiting experience. And also with helping holistic health practitioners with getting things going to where they are able to go from being a solo practitioner to hiring their first admin or associate to even having multiple practitioners as part of their practices and even having multiple locations and being able to have the practice run more without them and money coming in without them having to be there. So you can tap into that and get started. And super excited for those of you who would love to have help with this and join us in our 4 weeks to new hire program that is coming up soon. I created this because I have so much experience with recruiting and also lots of like lessons and mistakes that were costly over the years. And this kind of stuff isn't taught in school. And it's also not something that's talked about in a lot of practice management training in the way that I help our clients with this, which has been very powerful. You know, we've had people who have been jaded by the hiring process before because of the bad experience to now where they have the right person on their team and they feel so good about it. And also feel really confident that it's not just dependent on this one person always staying either, but having better approach in place that can really support the practice growth longer term and have it be sustainable. So I'm really excited to be making things easier by helping you through the 4 weeks to new hire process, like the systems for that. We're essentially focusing on 3 main areas. Number 1, to attract, how are you attracting and finding the right hire? Beyond just the typical kind of job boards. How do you decide what roles and the scope of the roles, you know, how well that is defined actually plays a role in attracting the right person, but not just that, because most people end up approaching it from just that kind of a perspective of like, I'm looking for this, but how are you getting the word out about this? And how are you communicating it so that people are excited to work with you and your practice versus another practice? And then step 2 is with screening them. So once you actually have a pool of candidates, like do you currently have a pool of candidates, like quality candidates, right? How can we get you more of a pool of quality candidates? And then once you have that, then how do you screen them and then suss them out so it doesn't end up taking you forever sifting through a lot of resumes, but rather you can get to the heart of a good fit much faster and beyond just the typical kind of interview questions or reference check questions. And then what is your actual process in place to support that? You know, many times what I see is a lot of holistic practitioners either don't really have a process in place or they have a process in place and it's just not effective. So really helping you with that. And then the 3rd step is then onboarding them. So, you know, one of the happiest days is hiring someone, but then if we don't set them up for success, then what can happen is that even a good person may not end up working out. So do you have a good onboarding process in place that really supports them? And for example, do you have a 90-day onboarding plan in place? So these are things we're going to be getting into. Anything we have templates and frameworks for, we'll give it to you so you're not having to reinvent the wheel. You will have 4 live calls with me. And then I will help you with your specific situation, as well as you're going to have a bonus Q&A call on onboarding too. And then be able to hear what other practitioners are doing in their practices that are working well, and then be able to apply that to your own practice also. So it just pulls you forward much faster than going at it alone. So the things that we're going to be getting into here are things that just, it's not possible for you to just figure out yourself. Like, I'm very confident of that because it's something that I've developed over many years of experience and lessons, and also doing things really well too, right? For example, in our recruiting business. So that is what I am super excited to help you with, and it's coming up soon. So you can click on the link, register now for it, and I can't wait to help you.